There's a unique kind of tension that only comes from being alone during the holidays. I learned this the hard way one December. My girlfriend went to visit her family, leaving me to hold down the fort. The street was silent, snow blanketed every yard, and it felt like the entire neighborhood had just vanished. At first it was peaceful. I pictured cozy evenings, catching up on shows, and just enjoying the silence. But that week, something happened that I'll never forget. Something that made the quiet feel alive. It was my second night alone. Around 6:30 in the evening, the snow was falling gently, a soft white layer covering the driveway and sidewalks. I was in the kitchen, making a simple dinner, with the TV playing quietly in the background to fill the empty house with some noise. Then I heard it, a sound that didn't belong. Singing. At first I thought it was the TV, or maybe a neighbor practicing carols for Christmas, but it wasn't coming from inside. I muted the television, my stomach tightening as I listened. The tune was unmistakable, jingle bells, but it was slow, off key, and it was just one voice, alone. I walked to the front door. The closer I got, the clearer the voice became. It was definitely coming from my porch. I opened the door, and there he was, a man, standing right there, completely focused on singing, barely noticing I'd opened the door. He didn't look threatened, just unusual, confused, maybe lost. He finished the song, took a slow breath, and started again. And then again. His eyes met mine for a moment, curious and unblinking, as if he wanted something I couldn't possibly understand. I closed the door slowly, hoping that would be the end of it. But the faint singing continued, echoing through the snow-covered street. Eventually it stopped. I peered through the window again. He had moved. Now he was standing silently at the end of the driveway, just watching the house. I spoke through the closed door, telling him he couldn't stay there, but he didn't respond. He just waited, long after I had gone back inside. The rest of that week, I noticed small, unexplained things. Shadows that seemed to move across the snow when nothing was there to cast them. Flickers of light that would appear near the windows and then disappear. Each time I checked, no one was there, or at least, no one I could see. But the sensation of being watched never fully left me. It reminded me of other times from my childhood when the ordinary suddenly felt strange. One memory took me back to when I was 6. I was at a huge basketball arena with my family, completely mesmerized by the lights, the sounds, and the massive crowd. For just a brief moment, I wandered a little bit away from them. A man approached me, offering to help me find them. At first, I didn't think anything of it, but something about the way he moved and watched me felt wrong. I didn't speak to him. I just ran back to my family as fast as I could. That encounter stuck with me, a quiet reminder to always pay attention to those subtle feelings of unease. Even the most joyful moments could take a sudden, dark turn. One Christmas, my family drove up north to cut down a real Christmas tree. Snow covered the mountains. The forest was dark and dense, and the silence pressed in around us. My son ran ahead, laughing in the snow. But as we walked deeper into the trees, I had this strange, persistent feeling that we weren't entirely alone. Shadows shifted just beyond the reach of our flashlights. Shapes seemed to appear and then disappear into the darkness. My heart started racing as I stayed close to my family, guiding them back toward the car. Even though nothing directly happened, the tension from that night remained. We never went back to that forest. Sometimes, even ordinary nights felt odd. One evening, snow was falling lightly, and I thought I saw movement just beyond the driveway. I tried to convince myself it was my imagination, just the way shadows stretch and dance in the winter light. But when I paused and really listened, I heard soft footsteps crunching in the snow. Nothing followed. No one spoke. Just the faint echo of movement, disappearing into the quiet night. That lingering feeling that something had been there and was gone before I could see it stayed with me long after the sound faded. Years later, these memories return in unexpected ways. On quiet winter nights, when snow is falling softly and the house is still, I'll glimpse shapes in the shadows, or notice distant movements, or hear faint sounds that shouldn't be there. I never know for sure if it's someone watching, or if it's just my imagination running away with me, but the feeling lingers, sharp and unsettling. Being alone during the holidays can make the ordinary feel incredibly unusual. The shadows seem to stretch longer, the silence grows heavier, even familiar spaces can begin to feel strange. Sometimes, the scariest moments aren't the loud or violent ones, they're the quiet ones that make you question what is really there. I remember another time, I thought I'd enjoy a quiet night reading in my room, but even as I turned the pages, a faint noise drew my attention to the window. It was a subtle flash of movement in the snow outside, just beyond the glow of the streetlight. I told myself it was just the reflection of a passing car or maybe a stray animal, but the feeling of unease only grew. My heartbeat quickened. My imagination started painting all sorts of pictures. For the rest of that night, I left every curtain drawn, every door locked, and every single light on. Another memory from my childhood also comes to mind. I was about 9, home alone for just a few minutes while my parents ran some quick errands. The doorbell rang unexpectedly. I tiptoed over and looked through the peephole. I saw a man in a full Santa suit. Everything was there, the red coat, the fluffy hat, the fake white beard, but something about him didn't feel right. My instincts were screaming at me. I whispered through the door that I was home alone, and the man smiled, trying to coax me toward the door with a gentle voice. I remembered everything my parents had taught me about strangers. I stayed back from the door, just watching, and waited. Eventually, he moved on, but the memory of that fake Santa has stayed with me, especially during the holiday season. Even when things seemed safe, the unexpected could appear at any moment. Those small sounds are the ones that make you feel the most vulnerable. A creak in the floorboards upstairs, the faint tapping of tree branches on a window, or the distant echo of footsteps in the snow. Even when you know no one is there, your mind starts to fill in the gaps. You imagine shapes lurking in the shadows, you think you hear whispers carried on the wind, and every small, insignificant detail becomes amplified in the overwhelming silence. Being alone in a house or walking through a quiet forest makes you hyper-aware of your surroundings. The snow that once looked cozy and beautiful now seems to stretch endlessly, concealing what might be hiding just out of sight. Shadows that should be ordinary suddenly feel menacing. The cold, quiet nights remind you that even in the most familiar spaces, the unknown can be incredibly close, and sometimes those memories return in flashes. A quick glance out the window at the wrong time, a strange reflection in a car mirror, a sudden, unexplained sound in the dark. It's the feeling that someone or something is watching, not harming you directly, not making any noise, just present, waiting, observing. These experiences taught me one thing: the ordinary world is rarely as ordinary as it seems. The safest spaces can suddenly feel strange, and the quietest nights can hide the most unsettling mysteries. So, if you ever find yourself home alone on a snowy night, pay attention, listen, watch carefully, because sometimes the shadows and the silence hide more than you realize. And the scariest moments are not the loud ones, they are the quiet ones. The ones that linger just beyond your sight, leaving you with a feeling that is impossible to shake. Thanks for listening. Stay safe out there, and don't forget to follow for more stories.